Hare Krishna, welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. So we are getting closer to Janmashtami. It is 2 weeks away, almost, a little bit more than 2 weeks. And therefore we are going through the discussion of the appearance of Lord Krishna, Krishna Katha. So we will continue that. And of course, before the appearance of Lord Krishna, who appears? Somebody appears before Lord Krishna appears. Anyone?
Balaramji.
Balaramji, very nice. Yes. So Balaramji appearance day is next weekend. And then after that weekend is the appearance of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. So we will discuss all those things over the next couple of weeks. But before we get started further, let us recite the Mangalacharan prayers. Okay, so we will recite the Mangalacharan prayers, which you all know. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padikamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, I will share the screen and let's recite the Srimad Bhagavatam invocation verses. So these are our famous slides of Srimad Bhagavatam, which we show every time. You must be getting very familiar with these. Parikshit Maharaj hearing from Sukadev Goswami. Once again, little different picture. And then Suta Goswami retelling the Srimad Bhagavatam to Shaunakadi Rishi at Naimisharanya. And here comes our invocation verses. So please repeat after me if possible. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Now we can recite together if you want. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavati Neishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, so Advent of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. So last time, that was 2 weeks back, we did not have a class last week. we discussed about how the Mother Earth, Bhumi Devi, was getting burdened, and then she approached Lord Brahma, and Brahmaji went to the ocean of milk, and then here is the picture where Lord Narayana spoke to him through a voice. He heard the voice saying that I will come and relieve the burden of the earth, and he gave a specific instruction to Brahmaji to convey to all the demigods who were sitting there and listening. Anybody remembers what that instruction was? What was the order given to all the demigods?
To take birth in the family of the Yadus.
Very nice. To take birth in the family of the Yadus, so that they can all be part of Lord Krishna's Leela, of his pastimes. So that they can all, and all the devatas, they were all waiting for this moment so that they can get a chance to take part in the pastimes, to see Lord Krishna and to enjoy the bliss and the spiritual happiness, to assist Lord Krishna in his pastimes. So this is where we were when we stopped. Now we will start with the actual sort of the storyline of the appearance of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. And towards the end today, I will discuss, so this next class we will have on Saturday. So this Thursday, which is today is Saturday, so in next 5 days from now is a very, very important day for all the Vaishnavas, all the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the followers of Srila Prabhupada. It is a very, very important day. It is the disappearance day of Srila Rupa Gosvami. So if you remember, a few weeks back was the disappearance day of Sri Sanatan Goswami, who is the elder brother of Rupa Gosvami. And Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami are the two chief Goswamis who are called as part of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So basically, Rupa Goswami is the leader, or is the most important acharya in our disciplic succession in our parampara. And it is his disappearance day this Friday, this coming Thursday. So I will try to speak a little bit about the glories of Sri Rupa Goswami. And we will continue that next Saturday as well. And that same day is also the disappearance day of another very great devotee, whose name is Sri Gauri Das Pandit. We will discuss about him also next week. So we will see how time permits. We will continue with our discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam, the appearance of Lord Krishna, plus we will discuss about all these great personalities, Rupa Goswami and Gauri Das Pandit as well, for my own purification, for all of our purification. So then what happens? So we were in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1. And Lord Krishna is about to appear. So Brahmaji and all the demigods leave and go back, and they start taking, all the demigods start taking birth in the family of Yadus, in the Yadu dynasty, in which Lord Krishna will be appearing. So the story picks up from that point onwards, and it starts with the marriage of Vasudev ji and Mother Devaki. So Mother Devaki is the daughter of Devaka, and Devaka is the brother of Ugrasen. Ugrasen is the king of Mathura. So he used to, and who is Ugrasen's son? Very famous guy.
Kamsa.
Kamsa, yes, very famous. Kamsa. So Kamsa and Devaki are therefore cousins. But Kamsa used to love Devaki very much, like a sister. He used to adore her. She was his younger sister, and he used to like her very much. And there was a minister in the administration of Ugrasena, and his name was Vasudev. So a marriage ceremony was arranged between Devaki, and Devaki actually had 7 more sisters. So all the 8 sisters were married to Vasudev ji. So this was the marriage ceremony of Vasudev ji with Mother Devaki. And both of them, Devaki and Vasudev ji, were demigods. They, as per the previous discussion, the demigods started appearing. So Vasudev and Devaki were demigods who had appeared in the Yadu dynasty. Later on, as we will make progress, their identities will be revealed. They ask Lord Krishna, or Lord Krishna tells them who they were in their previous life. So we will see that they were demigods. So the marriage of Vasudev and Devaki was happened in a very nice, opulent, very glorious way. And then Kamsa, who liked her younger sister Devaki very much, was driving the chariot, bringing them from the marriage ceremony to their home, to the home of Vasudev. So you can see, chariot driver, we know Lord Krishna was the chariot driver of Arjuna, and chariot driver is a low position. And it shows how much Kamsa loved his sister, and he accepted the position of like a driver or a chariot driver for the couple. Then as he was driving the chariot, there was a akashvaani, or a voice from the sky that came. So let me show the picture. So he heard this voice from the sky saying that, "You fool, you are trying to be so happy at the marriage of Vasudev and Devaki, but the 8th child of Devaki will kill you, will be the cause of your death." And Kamsa, actually, he was being very nice till that point, but actually he was a very sinful person. He had allied with many demons, so many demons, and we will see later on in the, or if you read the Krishna book, you will see all these demons were sent by Kamsa later on to Vrindavan to kill Krishna, to kill Lord Krishna. So all these were his allies, and they were creating havoc in the whole kingdom. So Kamsa was actually a very sinful person. He was just nice to Devaki. So when he heard this voice, he immediately became very cruel towards his sister. All that love that was there was immediately gone in one instant. So this shows that in the material world, whatever love is there between relatives, between brother and sister in this situation, in this example, is all at a superficial level. When it comes to, or when one's most deepest sense gratification is threatened, then that love goes out of the window. So that is what happened with Kamsa as well. And he took out his sword and wanted to kill Devaki. He said, "I will kill her right now. And if she is dead, there won't be any 8th child. What to speak of 8th child? There won't be any child. So I will kill her right now." And Vasudev was the husband of Devaki, and it is his duty to protect his wife, a newly wed wife. So he got into action. He immediately fell at the feet of Kamsa. Now, Kamsa was very powerful. There was no chance that Vasudev could fight Kamsa. So he pleaded to Kamsa. He gave all kind of arguments to Kamsa. How can you kill your own sister? Please don't kill her, especially on her marriage day. For a woman, the marriage day is supposed to be one of the most important days of her life, the happiest days of her life. So how can you kill her, especially on her marriage day? And then he starts also speaking the topics of Bhagavad Gita. He says that, and now all those of you who are listening to Bhagavad Gita classes, he tries to tell everybody is going to die one day. It is only the body which dies, but the soul always lives. The body is made of these 5 elements: earth, water, air, fire, ether. And the soul is eternal. But the next body, after death, the body is destroyed, you get a next body. And that next body is determined by one's consciousness, by one's actions, by one's choices in this life. So please don't commit this sinful act of killing your sister, because then you will have to suffer for the sins in the future. So please don't. So he gives that argument about the body and the soul and how the next body is determined. Then he says that elder brother is like a father, and therefore Draupadi, oh sorry, not Draupadi, what? Devaki is your like your daughter. How can you kill your own child? So he gives all these arguments. But then Shukdev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, as Shukdev Goswami is narrating this katha to Parikshit Maharaj, he says that Kamsa was actually a pakka rakshas, true rakshasa, true demon. And being true to the principles of demoniacness, or being a demon, he did not believe in any of these teachings. So he was not moved at all. He was so sinful, he was so evil that all these arguments had no effect on Kamsa. He did not care anything about the sinful actions he was going to commit. So, and he was about to kill Devaki. And when Vasudev ji saw that there is absolutely no other chance to save Devaki from certain death, Vasudev ji came up with an even more grave argument. And this argument involved the potential sacrifice of his children. So at least, and in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned, he did that. So basically he told Kamsa, you know what, can you please not kill Devaki? I will personally bring all the children as soon as they are born to you. You can kill the children. A small baby cannot kill you. The child has to grow up and then he will be able to kill you. So I will bring the child as soon as the child is born. You can do whatever you want with the child. He gave that promise. So basically he sacrificed or made the promise to sacrifice his future children. So Shukdev Goswami describes that when death is certain, when one is facing certain death, then even if somebody has to sacrifice or make some sinful, take sinful actions to save himself, then that is not considered offensive. That does not count as sin, because you are in the most desperate situation. And also it is mentioned, several reasons are mentioned, that this allowed Vasudev ji to buy some time. Okay, he will not kill Devaki right now. Maybe later when the child is born, by that time, maybe Kamsa will die. Maybe he will not be there at all. So we will get saved. Maybe he will have a change of heart. Maybe he will change his mind. Something, but at least he was able to buy some time. And like that, he thought about those arguments. Plus, he had full faith in Lord Narayana or Lord Vishnu. So having that faith on Lord Vishnu, he made this offer. So he basically pleaded to Kamsa to spare Devaki, and he would bring all the children that were born to Kamsa. And he thought that this was his destiny. This was happening because of some arrangement of the Lord. and he accepted that. So many learnings are there. Now, all of you are very good students of Bhagavad Gita, and all of you can understand all the arguments made by Vasudev ji. The whole topic of the soul and how the next body is determined and how one has to pay for the sinful actions in this life, in your next life, and how one considers any suffering that is happening to oneself as a matter of destiny, as a matter of one's own past actions, reactions to one's own past actions. So like this, Vasudev ji was demonstrating the qualities of a devotee. So Kamsa agreed. He said, fine, and you must bring me all your sons. And he knew that Vasudev was a man of his word. He knew that he was a truthful person. So he sent him home. He said, go, fine. So they went back home. They lived in their home. They were not imprisoned yet. They were not put in jail yet. And then when the first son was born, his name was Kirtimaan. And Vasudev ji very, very, very reluctantly brought that son to Kamsa. And he, before bringing that son Kirtimaan to Kamsa, Vasudev, it is written in the Srimad Bhagavatam that he fully surrendered to Lord Vishnu. He said that, Lord Vishnu, whatever will happen by your desire. And if your desire is that this child would die, then so be it. And he took that child and gave it to Kamsa. Now Kamsa had a change of heart. When he looked at Vasudev ji and he looked at that he had been true to his word, he became very happy. And he told Vasudev ji that I have nothing against your first child. This is your first child. Only the prophecy was that the 8th child will kill me. So you take back the child. I spare his life. Just bring me your 8th child whenever he is born. So like that, Kamsa told Vasudev ji and spared the life of Kirtimaan. Vasudev ji became very happy, and but still in his heart, he knew this Kamsa is a very sinful person and his word cannot be taken for granted, or you cannot trust his words. So he basically, continued and was fearful in his heart. Then what happens? Then our very favorite Muni, who, tries to always is interested in accelerating the pastimes of Lord Krishna. He is Narada Muni. Even later on, when very sweet pastime, this is Narada Muni, when Lord Krishna grows up and he is in Vrindavan and he is enjoying with all the residents of Vrindavan. So much he's enjoying with Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, all the Gopas and Gopis. He even forgets, Lord Krishna forgets amidst so much love with the residents of Vrindavan. He forgets his mission, that his mission is to kill Kamsa. I'm going a little forward, trying to explain how Narad Muni, comes and, does his tricks, or, seemingly sides with the demons, so to say. So Narad Muni, and then Kamsa doesn't know who actually is Krishna. He's sending all these demons to Vrindavan, like Aghasur and Bakasur and Pralambasur and so many other, Vyomasur, all these demons he is sending, Dhenukasur, to Vrindavan to find the 8th child of Krishna, of Devaki, and kill him. But he does not know yet. Then Narad Muni thinks Krishna is so busy in Vrindavan, he has forgotten that he need to kill Kamsa. So to accelerate that whole thing, he goes and tells Kamsa, you know what? Let me tell you who is the 8th child of Devaki. It is Krishna. And then Kamsa says, oh, thank you so much for telling me that that Krishna is the 8th child. So then he sends Akrurji to invite Krishna and Balaram to Mathura and for a wrestling match. And he had a full elaborate plan in place to kill Krishna when he comes to Mathura. So one imagines why did Narada Muni go and reveal Krishna's secret to Kamsa? It is to accelerate Lord Krishna's pastimes, to make sure that the whole world, all the devotees can see Lord Krishna perform various pastimes. So in the same way, Narad Muni visits Kamsa, and Kamsa, he tells Kamsa that, this 8th child of Devaki is none other than Vishnu, and he will be the cause of your death. And he tells Lord Vishnu is a great trickster. He can trick the demons. Now, he doesn't tell that you are a demon. He says that all the demoniac kings will be killed and by this 8th child of Devaki, and he is none other than Vishnu, and he's a great trickster. Remember how he tricked Hiranyakashipu? Hiranyakashipu thought he cannot be killed in the morning or day or night, inside or outside, by no animal, no man, no anything. And he assumed this wonderful form of Narsingadev. And he killed Hiranyakashipu by a trick. Similarly, he tricked another person, Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj gave him 3 steps, just 3 small steps. What did this Vishnu do? With 2 steps only, he covered everything that Bali Maharaj had owned. And then said, where should I put my 3rd step? And with the 3rd step, he conquered Bali Maharaj himself. So like that, he says this Vishnu can trick you. So don't think that this 8th child means 8th child. Who knows which child is the 8th child? So this doubt gets implanted in the mind of Kamsa. And he did not want to take any chances. So he thought he will outsmart God. Then he thinks, let me actually kill all the 8 children. I don't need to wait for the 8th child. Who knows who is the 8th child? Let me kill all of them. So this is the demoniac thinking. 2 things in demoniac thinking we see here. One is they think they can outsmart God. Just like Hiranyakashipu, he thought he could outsmart God. He had all the angles covered. Day, night, inside, outside, man, animal, everything. No weapons, no anything. And they think they can not only outsmart God, they can kill God. So let me kill all the 8 children, and that way Vishnu will also get killed, who will be one of the 8 children. And of course, they also think they can kill the devotees of God as well. So these are some of the illusions or the misunderstandings, the miscalculation of the demons. And all this is because of their own sense gratification. And the sense gratification here is that they do not want to die. So fearing his own death for his own sense gratification, at this point, Kamsa arrests or gets Devaki and Vasudevji arrested. And he puts them in jail and takes away the first child, Kirtimaan, and kills the first child. And, in this extreme sense gratification, you kill your own relatives. So this child was a nephew of Kamsa, Kamsa's sister's child. So he killed his own nephew. And in contrast, we see Arjuna. on the battlefield in Bhagavad Gita, he did not even want to kill his enemies. Here, Kamsa is killing his own relatives, own cousins, and Arjuna did not want to even kill the enemies. So that is the difference between a devotee and a demon. So, Narada Muni also further angers or fills Kamsa with anger by telling Kamsa that in your previous life, you were Kalanemi. And in your previous life, you were killed by Vishnu. And so he became even more infuriated. So Kalanemi also had this sort of desire to be killed by Vishnu multiple times, just like Jai and Vijay. So even though he was killed by Vishnu in the previous life, he again took birth as a demon. So there are some special cases. Otherwise, when you are killed by Vishnu, you don't take birth again. You go back to the spiritual world. So anyway, he got even more infuriated. So Narad Muni was, filling up his bowl of sins by his sinful activities. And like this, Kamsa got even more infuriated and kept killing all the children of Devaki up to the 6th child. So Kamsa killed 6 children of Devaki. Now, by the way, later on in the Srimad Bhagavatam, very much towards the end of the 10th canto, we will see that Lord Krishna asks Mother Devaki, what can I do for you? After Lord Krishna has killed Kamsa, Mother Devaki and Vasudev ji are living with Krishna in Dwarka later on. And Mother Devaki says that I want my children back. You are the supreme personality of Godhead. You are God himself. So anything is possible for you. Can you bring back my 6 children who were killed? And Lord Krishna brings back the 6 children and gives them to Mother Devaki. And Mother Devaki is so happy at that time. And she, gives so much love to her 6 children. So those children are not dead, but they are brought back. I mean, of course, their bodies die in this pastime, but later on they are brought back by Lord Krishna. Anyway, so after the 6 children were killed, now Kamsa is saying, okay, 2 more to go. Two more children, and then I will be invincible. I will become what do you say, Amar, or what do you say? I will never die. Immortal.
Immortal.
Yes. Immortal. Yes, thank you. So Kamsa began to persecute all the members of Vasudev's family, all of the Yadu dynasty, and everything with the friends or his demoniac friends. And all the Yadus therefore ran away from Mathura and took shelter in various kingdoms. Some of them remained. Some of the associates of Vasudev ji or the Yadus remained in Mathura and were externally, they were just getting along with Kamsa. But they remained because they wanted to experience the pastimes or the appearance of Lord Krishna and all the various pastimes. So in their heart, they were devotees and devoted to Lord Krishna, but externally they were appearing to serve Kamsa. Does anybody remember one such devotee of Lord Krishna who was externally appearing to serve Kamsa? If you were coming to the
Akrura.
Yes.
Akrura.
Akrurji. Yes. So it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Akrurji stayed back. Even though he is in the Yadu dynasty, he wanted to stay back because he wanted to see Lord Krishna and see all his birth, his pastimes, etc. So he stays back. Anyway, so this is what is happening. Kamsa is becoming more and more violent. And then Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu in the spiritual world is thinking that now the time has come for me to appear on the earth planet. So before that, he sends his plenary expansion, his expansion called Sankarsana, into the womb of Mother Devaki. And this would be Balaramji. And so the expansion or the avatar of Lord Vishnu, the Sankarsana avatar, goes into the womb of Mother Devaki. Then Lord Vishnu calls Yogamaya. Yogamaya is the assistant of Lord Vishnu. She enables all the pastimes, all the activities of the Lord in the material world. So to enable all the pastimes, she makes all the arrangements. So Lord Krishna is like the hero of the movie. Yogamaya is like the producer, all the financer, and brings all the money, makes all the arrangements so that the hero can come on the set and do his, wonderful thing, and all the spectators will be happy. So the spectators in this case are all the devotees. The hero, of course, is Lord Vishnu. Yogamaya is like the producer who is making all the arrangements. So very nice analogy like that I have heard. So anyway, Lord Krishna calls Yogamaya and gives her instructions that you go to Vraja, to Mathura. There is Mother Devaki, in whose womb Sankarshan ji has already taken place. He has already gone into the womb. Then there is another wife of Vasudev ji. Her name is Rohini. And Rohini is staying with Nanda Maharaj in Gokul because she is afraid of Kamsa. So Rohini is a wife of Vasudev ji, but she is not in prison. Only Devaki is in prison. Rohini is in the protection of Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj is a very, very good friend of Vasudev. And Mother Rohini went there and took shelter and is staying in the house of Nanda Maharaj. Kamsa doesn't know that. So Lord Vishnu tells Yogamaya, you go and transfer, because, Kamsa will kill the seventh child. So he says, you go and transfer Sankarshana from the womb of Mother Devaki to the womb of Mother Rohini, like a, what you call test tube baby transfer, from one womb to another or whatever, so there was that's also there in our Vedic scriptures also, from one womb transfer to another womb. So like that, he gives instructions to Yogamaya, and then I will appear in the womb of Devaki, of Mother Devaki. And then Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu glorifies Yogamaya. This is very significant here. He says, by executing all my instructions, your glories will be sung in the entire material world. In the material world, you will be called by different names, and your names will be like Mother Durga, Bhadrakali, Ambika, Sharada, Maya. All these will be your names in the material world. This is mentioned right there in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is very clear from the Srimad Bhagavatam that Mother Durga, what we know as in our understanding, is none other than Yogamaya in the spiritual world, who is carrying out the instructions of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So Mother Durga is serving Lord Krishna in like a great devotee. And many people have this misconception. Somebody was asking me a question that Lord Krishna comes from the potency or from the eyes of Mother Durga and like that. So that is not true. Here from the, at least, now again, Srimad Bhagavatam is saying this, that Mother Durga is none other than Yogamaya, who is the, very great devotee and servitor, serves Lord Krishna. And in the spiritual world, she is called as Yogamaya. In the material world, she has all these different names like Durga, Bhadrakali, Ambika, Sharada, and all. And of course, in the material world, she is the one who makes sure that all the miscreants get their proper proper treatment, proper punishment. So in that sense, she is taking charge of the material world and making sure that the miscreants don't, they get their proper share of punishment. So that is the role of Yogamaya. And then Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu tells her that this Sankarsana that you will transfer from the womb of Devaki to Rohini will be called as Balaram or Balabhadra. And he will be very strong and he will be very, very dear to all my devotees. So there he declares the appearance of Balaramji. So Yogamaya accepts these instructions from Lord Vishnu. She does pradakshina or circumambulation of Lord Vishnu, pays her respect to Lord Vishnu, and leaves for the material world. From the spiritual world, she goes to the material world and she carries out all these instructions. So this basically concludes this part of the pastime or this katha, and the birth of Balramji appears in the womb of Mother Rohini. And since Mother Rohini is living in the house of Nanda Maharaj, they have great celebration. Everybody is very happy and jubilation is there in that house, and they celebrate the appearance of Balramji. So like this, the appearance of Balramji happens, which this year we will celebrate on next Sunday, this coming Sunday. So Balaramji ki jai. Then over here in the jail or in the prison house, Mother Devaki appears to have a miscarriage because from her womb she was pregnant, and Sankarsana, Lord Narayana or the expansion of Lord Narayana had entered into the womb of Mother Devaki. Now, by the way, I think I forgot to change the picture. So here there is this picture of Kamsa trying to, steal or snatch, not steal, but snatch one of the son of Mother Devaki. So like that, the picture is shown. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, so Balaramji is born, and yeah, Mother Devaki appears to have a miscarriage. Then once she has the miscarriage, then Lord Krishna enters the scene. How does he enter the scene? So this is the beautiful pastime or the beginning of the narration of the appearance of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. So Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa first enters the mind of Vasudev. This is so beautiful. So many people think Krishna was born from Vasudev and Devaki, just like ordinary human beings are born. Right? Now, ordinary human beings are born in a very different way. They appear in the womb of the mother from the father, right? But here in the Bhagavatam, directly from the verses of Bhagavatam, I have picked up this aspect. The verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam say that Lord Krishna first entered the mind of Vasudev. Now, this is not heard of. How can the child enter the mind of a father? And Lord Krishna enters the mind of Vasudev ji, and immediately Vasudev ji becomes bright like the sun. He's glowing because the Lord himself is entered into his mind, into his body. And even the prison, what you call the staff of the prison, they also see what has happened to Vasudev. He's glowing so much. He's become so bright. And even Kamsa sees that. But they cannot approach him. They cannot even come near. He's so effulgent. So much brightness is coming out of Vasudev ji. Then afterwards, after some time, Lord Krishna transfers himself from the mind of Vasudev ji to the mind of Mother Devaki. And immediately as that happens, Mother Devaki becomes very, very sweet, very beautiful. And it is written in the Bhagavatam that it is as if, when on a dark night, on the eastern side, when it is dark, the moon appears from the eastern side and makes the eastern side so beautiful. So like that, the sad Mother Devaki who was in the jail immediately becomes beautiful, very, very happy, very glowing, very bright, as if the entire cosmos is within her, which is true, because Lord Krishna is the entire cosmos. The entire cosmos is within Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna is now within the mind of Mother Devaki. So all this is happening, and Kamsa again sees what has happened to Devaki, and he cannot approach her, he cannot kill her, he cannot do anything. Now Kamsa knows, okay, 6 children I have killed. 7th one was a miscarriage. He doesn't know that the miscarriage was not really a miscarriage, it was a transplant or a transfer to the womb of Mother Rohini in Gokul. He doesn't know that, but he thought, okay, 7 gone. This is the 8th child, and this must be Vishnu, because Mother Devaki is so bright and I cannot even approach her, I cannot come near her. So he is waiting for the child to be born. And she becomes so bright, so effulgent. The next thing is all the Devis and Devatas also realize. Now the pastimes of the Lord are very, very unique, very mystical. Even the demigods don't know when the Lord will take birth. But when they also see that Mother Devaki is so bright, they also know. If Kamsa, if a rascal like Kamsa can understand that Lord Vishnu has now entered, the demigods definitely can understand. So they all come, and one by one, and they start offering their prayers to the Lord within the body of, or within the mind of Mother Devaki. So that we will cover next time. So this is the sort of the entry or the beginning of the appearance. Appearance pastime is also very long, or significant. And this is the beginning of the appearance of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa through the body of Mother Devaki. Oh, so there is this beautiful picture here. You can see here, Mother Devaki is pregnant, and all the Devis and Devatas have appeared here in the jail and are offering their prayers to Lord Krishna, because she within her body is carrying Lord Krishna. So very, very beautiful time, very beautiful occasion, and the demigods are super happy and jubilant. So this is what is going on. Okay, so now I want to switch topics. I want to show. Okay, so we will continue this pastime or this description on next Saturday about the appearance of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. So 2 more weekends to go, and we will complete this pastime. Now, this coming Thursday is the disappearance day of Sri Rupa Gosvami. Now, Rupa Gosvami and Sanatan Goswami, now I think you might remember the 1 second. You can see this picture here. Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, we talked about a few weeks back. And Sanatan Goswami is the elder brother and Rupa Goswami is the younger brother. And they are the primary disciples of Lord Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who spread the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna himself. But they spread this message of Lord Chaitanya or Lord Krishna all throughout the world. And still that message is being spread. So I want to share about Rupa Goswami a little bit. So the Mangalacharan prayers, I had shared this already earlier, but the Mangalacharan prayers that we recite. 1 second. Need to adjust the screen size. So these prayers that we recite, we had discussed this last time or sometime. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamahyam dadati swa padantikam. So this rupa is referring to Rupa Goswami. And one beautiful thing I want to share with you. What is written here? Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale. What does it mean? Shri Chaitanya, who is Krishna, Manobhishtam, whatever are the desires of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whatever is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sthapitam yena bhutale, was established. Sthapit means to establish. Was established on this earth or on this bhutale, on this earth planet, on this bhu, by this person. Who is that person? Rupa Goswami. Swayam Rupa kadamahyam dadati swapadantikam. That Rupa who established the desires, the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when will I get the shelter under his feet? Swayam Rupa, that Rupa Goswami, kadamahyam, when will I get? Kada means when will I get? Dadati swapadantikam, the pada, the feet, the shelter of the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami. So basically this verse is in glorification of Sri Rupa Goswami. And this verse is very, very significant. And it's right at the beginning of the Mangalacharan prayers. So that is the importance of Rupa Goswami for all the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. And the important part I wanted to point out in this is Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam. Rupa Goswami is the one who fulfills the desires of Lord Krishna or Lord Chaitanya. Can you imagine? Fulfilling the desires of God. God fulfills the desires of the devotees, isn't it? The devotees say to the Lord, please do this, please do that, please do this. And the Lord fulfills the desires, isn't it? But Rupa Goswami is so expert. He is such a exalted, such a wonderful devotee that he is fulfilling the desires of God. Now, which particular desire am I talking about? Here in this example, I am talking about the desire that, so after Lord Krishna's pastimes were over on this planet, his great-grandson, his name is Vajranabh. Vajranabh got 3 deities. I had explained this earlier. 3 deities of Lord Krishna made. So I will just show this picture of Rupa Goswami. Or let me stop sharing for a minute. So Vajranabh got 3 deities of Lord Krishna made. They were the deities of Govindji, Madan Mohan ji, and Gopinath ji. They are considered the three principal deities of Lord Krishna. 5,000 years ago, you can imagine. And when the Muslim invasions happened, around the 1100, 1200 AD, those deities were hidden by the devotees. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the 1500s, the situation became much more favorable, so that, the Muslims were not that much oppressive, especially under the rule of which king? Around the 1500s, who was the ruler? Anybody remembers?
Akbar.
Akbar, very nice. So Akbar was a very friendly, very tolerant, and a very king who embraced the Hindus. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire was that the deities of these three deities should be rediscovered wherever they are. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and he could have discovered those deities in an instant. But he left that job for his devotees, such as Rupa Goswami. So he told Rupa Goswami, go try to find the deities that have been lost. And then one time, what happened? So Rupa Goswami anyway goes to Vrindavan, and it is there in his heart that I have to find these deities. So one time he was sitting under a tree and feeling very, very sad that there is no hope. I cannot find the deities. How can I find? Where is the deity? It could be anywhere in this whole world. It could be anywhere. How do I know where it is? And he was feeling so sad that he cannot fulfill the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he was feeling like this. And then a small boy comes to Rupa Goswami and asks, why are you so sad? And guess what is the kind of the color or the complexion of the boy? Any guesses?
Bluish black.
Very nice. Bluish black. And who is that going to be then?
Krishna.
Krishna himself.
Krishna himself. Very nice. So anyway, Rupa Goswami yet does not realize that. So he sees this boy and says, what do you want? Boy says, you are very sad. Why are you sad? And Rupa Goswami is very simple. He doesn't think like, oh, what can this boy do? Chalo, get lost. No, he doesn't say like that. He's very simple-hearted. So he tells his whole feeling to the boy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had told me like this, but I cannot find. What can I do? I'm so sad. So he says, really? You know what? I know one place where a cow comes every day and pours her milk into the ground. Just stands there and the milk goes in the ground. And there must be some reason that the cow comes and pours her milk from her udders. So maybe something is there, he says. He says, very strange. I have never seen a cow just come somewhere and just like pour the milk. So what's going on? So then the boy goes. And then Rupa Goswami says, maybe it's just, this boy is just telling something. Then he thinks, let me check it out. So one time he goes and hides behind a tree and at that place. And sure enough, a cow comes, stands there and starts pouring her milk into the ground. And Rupa Goswami then realizes, oh my God, this is true. And why would a cow come and pour her milk? Because there must be the deity of Krishna below the ground, underground. And then he also realizes, oh, that boy was so beautiful. He was bluish black. And then he realizes that he didn't even recognize Krishna when he came and talked to Rupa Goswami. So he feels so much gratitude in his heart. And then he gathers some local villagers to start digging that place, very carefully digging, not digging so that they would break the deity, but very careful digging. Like you might have seen archaeologists, modern archaeologists, when they're, trying to do the fossil, they are working with brushes and all. They don't dig with like a hammer or something. They're just using very careful, delicate instruments. So like that, they started digging. And sure enough, they found a beautiful deity of Govindji in the ground. And so Rupa Goswami, got the deity out, did nice abhishek of the deity, made so much bhoga, prasadam, and there was big celebration, and started offering worship to the deity of Govindji. So like that, the worship of Govindji started. And then Akbar, who was a very favorable king, had a big temple. He financed a huge temple to be constructed in Vrindavan, and it became sort of one of the biggest temples in Vrindavan, and that is the temple of Govindji. So later on, so here I have a picture of the Govindji temple. This is the temple of Govindji. Now this kind of appears like very flat. That is because later on, when Aurangzeb came into power, he was very, very envious. And he sent a whole army to Vrindavan primarily to destroy this temple. But this temple was so tall and so huge, it took him several years to start destroying it. So this temple was 7 stories high. So this is just 1/3 of the temple, or less than half of the temple. You can see here 3 stories, 1, 2, 3. There were 4 more stories above this. And all the soldiers and all started destroying the temple, and they were able to destroy 4 stories. But
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Are you sharing your screen?
oh, no, sorry. Thank you for alerting me. So here now you can see the temple of Govindji in Vrindavan. And you can see that there are 3 stories and there were 7 stories total. And those soldiers of Aurangzeb, they destroyed these 4 stories. But by the time they could get down, Aurangzeb was killed. And so, because he was so envious of the Lord, his whole dynasty, the whole Mughal dynasty came to an end at that point. And the temple of Govindji survived. But before the attack, the devotees had shifted the Govindji deity to Jaipur in the protection of the kings of Jaipur. And that original deity of Govindji is still there in Jaipur. So here comes the picture of Govindji deity in Jaipur. Shri Radha Govindji ki jai. So this is one of the most famous temples in the world. It's a very, one of the most famous deities of Lord Krishna, and the most famous temple of Krishna in the whole world is there in Jaipur. And this is the Govindji deity in Jaipur. So whenever you go to India to visit, please make it a point to visit Jaipur and visit the deity, take darshan of the Govindji deity. Every day there is also online darshan. Now these days, you can get online darshan live. Also, you Google for Radha Govindji Jaipur, you can get the link and you can see online darshan as well. And later on, the devotees in Vrindavan requested many times that please give back the deity. Let the deities come back to Vrindavan. And always the people of Jaipur refused. He said, the people of Jaipur are so much in love with Govindji deity. When we went to Jaipur, we visited morning 5 o'clock every single day. The temple is full of devotees. It's completely packed. And the whole of it seems so many hundreds of devotees in Jaipur come to the temple every single day in the morning, and they start their day by the darshan of Govindji. So very, 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 very prominent deity of Lord Krishna is there in Jaipur, in the center of Jaipur, within the palace, what is known as the Jaipur Palace. In the center of the palace, the king had made the temple, and Govindji is the presiding deity in that temple. So please don't forget to visit Govindji temple in Jaipur in India next time on your visit. So that is the story of Govindji. Now another beautiful story is there about Sri Rupa Goswami, and I will share some more next weekend, but this is another very famous story of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami are just such great acharyas. They have had personal darshan of Lord Krishna and Shreemati Radharani. Now Lord Krishna gives his darshan to his devotees, but very few devotees get darshan of Shreemati Radharani. It is very difficult to get her darshan. Lord Krishna, yes, possible. Lord Vishnu, possible. But Shreemati Radharani, very hard. So in this particular case, in this story, Shreemati Radharani gives her darshan to Rupa Goswami. I will share two pastimes like that. So one time, so Rupa Goswami is the younger brother of, so I'll switch back to the picture. This one is the younger brother of Sanatan Goswami. And he always is trying to serve Sanatan Goswami. So one day, and they were living like very, just like sannyasis. They were sannyasis, but, very poor. They didn't have, so one day they didn't have any food. And Rupa Goswami was thinking in his mind, I have not fed any prasad to Sanatan Goswami today. What will I feed him? He was having this desire that I want to feed some very nice prasad to Sanatan Goswami, but I don't have anything. What should I do? Then a small girl comes to Rupa Goswami. She says to Rupa Goswami that, why are you so sad? So again, he says, I don't have anything, and I want to feed or like offer bhoga to Lord Krishna, and then offer the prasad to my elder brother Sanatan Goswami, who would be hungry. And I'm so sad because of that. Then she says, okay, I thought so. My mother has sent some rice and some milk. Why don't you cook something with the rice and milk, and you can, do that. So she gave some rice and milk. So Rupa Goswami said, maybe this child is just, doesn't mean it, and she doesn't have to give it to me, or maybe it's meant for the child that she's just giving to me. So he doesn't accept it, or he doesn't, listen to her. Then the girl continues to persist. And then the girl says, okay, no problem. I will cook it for you. So she, gets, lights up a fire. She has a little earthen pot. And within the pot, she puts rice and milk and sugar, and she makes some kheer. And she cooks the kheer and gives that pot to Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami then says, okay, fine. Now that you have cooked it, looks like you're serious. You want to give it to me. Fine, I will take it. So he takes that pot, offers to Lord Krishna. Somebody mute. Offers to Lord Krishna, and then takes the prasad to Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami says, oh, thank you for bringing this kheer. And he tastes one spoon of the kheer. And then what happens? As soon as he tastes one spoon of the kheer, he goes into ecstasy. He becomes completely mad, as if he has tasted something from the spiritual world. Sanatan Goswami has tasted direct prasad from Jagannath temple. And he has experienced that kind of feelings of when prasad is so nicely made and very, very in a very pure consciousness. But this one, this kheer, it makes him go like completely in ecstasy. And he holds Rupa Goswami, shakes him up. What is this that you have brought? This is not from this world. This kheer does not belong to the material world. Tell me truly, where did you get it? Where did you find it? What happened? You tell me everything, Sanatan Goswami says. Then Rupa Goswami says, I don't know. I was just thinking that you have not had anything, so I was very sad. And then this beautiful girl came, very fair complexioned, very beautiful girl. And then she cooked the kheer and she gave it to me. And then he says, oh my God, you don't know who that girl was? Who was that girl? Any idea?
Radha.
Yes,
Radharani.
Shrimati Radharani. Says, what? Radharani came to you and you did not even recognize? And not only you did not recognize, you did not accept it from her. She had to cook it for you. You took service from her. We are supposed to serve Radharani. And you are the one who is taking the service from her. Oh my God, what have you done? And just look at this kheer. This kheer is coming straight from the spiritual world. This is not from the material world. So never, ever you should have such a desire again, that may I have nice prasad. Because you are such a, so Sanatan Goswami is appreciating Rupa Goswami. He's saying you are such a great devotee that if you have a desire, Shreemati Radharani will personally come and fulfill your desire. So you must not have such a desire which involves the service of Radharani. Never have such a desire. We should only have a desire to serve her, not to have such a desire which makes her to come and serve you. So like this, they were both in ecstasy. They both had the kheer fully, every particle of the kheer they had. And then even that clay pot, they broke it up into pieces, into powder, and ate the pot as well. They did not want to leave anything that was even touched by Radharani. Everything they consumed. And they were in so much ecstasy, so much happiness, so much bliss. So that is the greatness of Sri Rupa Goswami, that they had personal darshan of Lord Krishna, of Radharani. One more very sweet story I want to tell, and then we will end the class here, is that another time Rupa Goswami has a darshan of Shreemati Radharani. Very beautiful. And this is just showing how sweetly the Lord is reciprocating or having these loving exchanges with these great devotees like Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. They are just completely, we must understand how great devotees they are. And we should submit, we should completely surrender ourselves to the teachings of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. So one time what happened is Sanatan Goswami, and I think I'm getting this right, maybe there are some mistakes in what I'm remembering, so please forgive me for any mistakes. One time Sanatan Goswami wrote a poetry describing the beauty of Shreemati Radharani. He was describing the beauty of Shreemati Radharani. And in the description, and then he gave this poetry to Rupa Goswami for review. That, so let me stop sharing. That you please review the poetry and give me feedback. So they were both were very, very wonderful devotees. And Sanatan Goswami knew that Rupa Goswami is a great devotee. So he's a perfect person to review my poetry and give feedback. So Rupa Goswami was reading the poetry and he was in ecstasy. What a wonderful poetry this is. How nicely it is glorifying Shreemati Radharani. Now, at one point, the poetry mentioned that the long hair of Radharani, it was like snakes curling in the air. So, like that was the description of the hair of Shreemati Radharani. And Rupa Goswami thinks, the poetry is very nice, but hair like snakes, that comparison is not very, appropriate, maybe, to compare the hair of Shreemati Radharani to snake or snakes. So he was thinking like that. He didn't give the feedback to Sanatan Goswami yet. He was just thinking, of course, Sanatan Goswami has written this, so you cannot just give the feedback like that. You have to be very, very cautious and very thorough before you give any feedback. So he was meditating like this, and he was having this sort of a desire in his heart how to resolve this. Is it the right description or is it not the right description to describe the hair of Shreemati Radharani as like snakes flowing down in the air? So like that, he was meditating, and one day in the evening, Sandhya, he was going to take a bath. And he was going through Vrindavan, and he saw some girls ahead of him, some young girls who were going ahead of him. And one of the girls ahead of him had very long hair. And Rupa Goswami saw that what was on her hair? Some snakes were in the hair. And he wanted to alert the girl. There are snakes in your hair. You should, brush them off or throw them. So he began calling the girls, hey, girls, there is snake in your hair. Be careful. And the girls didn't listen. And he started running behind them and kept telling, hey, girls, there are snakes in your hair. And that girl who had very long hair, she just looked back at Rupa Goswami and just smiled. Just gave him a beautiful smile. And then she turned around the corner. And Rupa Goswami started running again. He didn't believe that why she smiled. She maybe didn't understand my message, my warning. And when he went around the corner, those girls were not there. And then he was meditating, what happened? And then he realized, oh my God, that girl was none other than Shreemati Radharani. And she wanted to show me that it is perfectly appropriate that the description was that her hair looked like snakes. It actually looked like snakes to him. And when she had turned and smiled, then he remembered, oh my God, this is the same girl who had come for giving me that kheer. And then again, he felt so ashamed. Oh my God. Again, I could not recognize Radharani. But he was so thankful that he got his answer. Whether it is an appropriate description or not. And then he went to give his feedback to Sanatan Goswami. And then he says to Sanatan Goswami, this is beautiful poetry, beautiful, very nice. And you know the part which I liked the most, the best part of the poetry, he said, was your description of the hair of Radharani as snake. That part I really liked. It was the best description. Like that he says to Sanatan Goswami. So these are the beautiful interactions between the devotees of the Lord and between the Lord and the devotees. So this is the greatness of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. So one must internalize these aspects. These things strengthen our respect and our surrender to the acharyas. And these are the acharyas whose writings we are following. Much of the purports written by Srila Prabhupada in his books are taken through the writings of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. So we are getting the direct instructions from Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. This is not any Joe Blow, Tom, Dick and Harry's descriptions or interpretations. These are coming down through those who have had direct exchanges with God, with Krishna, with Shreemati Radharani. And we should take those instructions very seriously. These are not somebody's imaginations. These are coming from some of the greatest acharyas ever present on the face of this earth, like Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. So Rupa Goswami's disappearance day is coming on this Thursday. So on Thursday, please make a note in your calendar. Meditate on Rupa Goswami, pray for his blessings, pray that he blesses us so that we can understand his teachings and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and the teachings of Lord Krishna and apply them in our life. That should be our mood and our prayer, and especially on the day of his disappearance. Thank you so much. So I had a lot of fun in explaining or sharing with you the glories of Rupa Goswami. Next week, we will continue to make progress on our description of the appearance of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and we will also share more stories or pastimes of Rupa Goswami and Shri Gauri Das Pandit. So please stay tuned for these discussions next Saturday. And we have 5 minutes. Any questions, any comments? Everybody is mesmerized and
Prabhu.
spellbound by
Yes,
Rupa
Hare
Goswami.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Anita Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Prabhu. Yeah, I just want to thank you for the, I don't know, I just got goosebumps listening to all the pastimes today. So wonderfully, such wonderful pastimes, and you narrated them so wonderfully. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Please keep doing this for us. That's all I can ask of you. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you. I also got goosebumps when I heard these from other senior devotees. So all glories to the chain of devotees who have kept narrating these pastimes.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, I'm Lakshmi Natarajan from India.
Yes.
As you said already, we have been mesmerized and I cannot say the words. It is very much healing for us and giving a lot of happiness for us. So I'm thankful to you and the hierarchy of all the people who have transformed this knowledge to every one of us. It is a blessing from God to everyone who has been a member of this particular group. Thank you very much. And I pray God Almighty to bless all the people who are involved in organizing this work also. Without organizers' support, devotees will not be able to get anything. So in that angle also, I am also thankful to Lord Krishna. Krishna should bless every one of us. In this pandemic situation, negativity is there, but positivity is also increasing. This should bring out betterment for the entire world. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. And the Chief General, Army General, who has made all this knowledge, all these wonderful, sweet pastimes available to us is Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
we surrender to him.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, without his efforts, we would still be lost and doing our own little things somewhere in the darkness of the world.
He has transformed the hippies into devotees. That the work cannot be done by anyone. That is world-known information. life with drinks and dances and other things have been changed into devotional prayers and offerings. That is a great thing what he has done. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Prabhuji.
100% correct. Thank you so much, Mataji, for glorifying Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Otherwise, on that very beautiful high note, we can end today's discussion. All right. Thank you very much for joining and listening and giving me a chance to share and repeat the words that I have heard. And you go and share it with others. That is the chain of message that we have been talking about. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Very beautiful, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you.